This is Drew Broach at NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. We're in Gretna this morning where Governor Bel Edwards of Louisiana is going to announce $40 million in coastal resilience projects across 6 parishes.
We'd like to get started here shortly if everybody can
These are not to rebuild the coast or to protect the coast, but these are to make it more livable for people in these 6 parishes. So again, in Gretna, Governor Bel Edwards of Louisiana is going to announce $40 million in coastal restoration projects.
Thank you all for coming. This is quite a crowd. I'm super impressed and thrilled to be here today. Thank you. First, I want to, at the risk of making this run-long, list all the elected officials who are here today. President Natalie Rowbottom, Cade Brumley from Jefferson Parish Schools. Thank you. Councilman Saraparu. Thank you. Councilman Bartholomew. Chief of Police Brett Abity. Councilmember Marmon. Councilmember Trusclair. Chief Martha Lawson.
From Gretna.
President Pat Brister. Parish President Cormier. Councilmember Charlie Burt and Councilmember Jeff Edgecombe. Gretna Chief of Police Arthur Lawson. Councilmember Milton Crosby. Councilmember Mark Miller. Retired Judge Marion Edwards. Representative Leopold. Councilmember Benny Roussel. State Representative Joe Marino. Councilmember Mike Heinub. Councilmember Wayne Rowe. Mayor Tim Kerner. Councilmember Ricky Tomplay. Councilmember Charlie Burt. Senator Troy Carter. And I want to mention that Mayor Belinda Constant from Gretna is not able to be here today. She's out of the country. She's been a great partner in this effort in trying to, in making this work, and just wanted to recognize her work. And we will get started with the program. Thank you for coming out today.
President Alaria.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss President Alaria? I'm sorry. So sorry, sir. Also, if there's anybody else that Jimmy Cantrell, I'm sorry. Representative Bigot, I am so sorry. I'm sure that y'all's names were on my list, and if I left anybody else out, it was completely accidental. Now, I'm going to get to them later. Believe me, I don't think all these people came to see me. Thank you for coming out today. It's a big day for the state of Louisiana. Today, we take the next step in the LA Safe program. It's just part of nearly $250 million that the Department of Housing and Urban Development sent to the state of Louisiana and the city of New Orleans combined. We competed with 67 other entities and got nearly a quarter of the funds here in Louisiana. It's a demonstration of the leadership that the state of Louisiana is showing in the realm of resilience, and that we in fact have since Hurricanes Katrina and Rita devastated our state in 2005. We were safer, stronger, smarter then. We continue to push for resilience, and this is another opportunity for us to make our state better and safer for her people, and also to lead the way for others. It's a great opportunity for the state. And today it's my honor to introduce to you a man who has provided the leadership for much of this effort. These opportunities that we have arise from the fact that Louisiana is the most disaster-prone state in the nation, bar none, and the governor has had his share of disasters to deal with since even before he was inaugurated. He has overseen response and recovery from more disasters, I think, than any other governor, and we're only a couple of years in. When the floods hit our state in 2016, the governor was out front immediately saying, we're going to do this recovery right. We're going to be smarter. We're going to make our people safer. We're going to be innovative. We're going to work regionally. We're going to work in watersheds instead of just jurisdictional boundaries. And that's the sort of leadership, it's not easy, but it's the sort of leadership that's going to let us continue to take this LA Safe approach of community engagement, regional planning, local planning, so that we can make our whole state safer. And it is my great honor to introduce to you now Governor John Bel Edwards.
Yay!
Thank you. What a beautiful morning to be in Gretna, Louisiana. And we have had our share of disasters, and some of them have actually been given to us by Mother Nature. But we're going to get them all fixed. Thank all of you for showing up today. I was told to expect about 30 people. But there's obviously more interest than that in these projects, and that's great, because we all ought to be interested in making our state better, making it safer for our people, and making maximum use of the dollars that have been entrusted to us for this SAFE program. So I am thrilled today to unveil 10 projects. Now these are 10 projects spread across 6 parishes, total of $40 million to be invested. Now these 6 parishes were the parishes most affected by Hurricane Isaac in 2012. Louisiana was among 13 states and municipalities that won the National Disaster Resilience Competition. And ultimately, as part of that competition, we were awarded a little more than $92 million. $48 million of that is going to the resettlement of the Ile de Jean Charles, and the rest of that, the $40 million, is going to this particular program. So Louisiana's Strategic Adaptations for Future Environments. I love those acronyms. The SAFE, LA Safe. We think it represents a crucial step forward in cementing our place on the cutting edge in resilience building activities. And while our Coastal Restoration Master Plan is the country's preeminent effort to reduce future land loss and flood risk along the coast, LA Safe has taken the next step to illuminate a path forward for how communities can develop future housing, economic, social, and transportation needs as the environment changes over time. And so now is the time for us to begin thinking innovatively to address the needs of our communities in an age of heightened flood risk. That's what this is all about. The LA Safe project team, led by Pat Forbes, who runs my Office of Community Development, he was just up here speaking to you, almost lost his job when he failed to recognize Senate President Valeria. We're going to give him one more shot. Okay. And he was assisted ably by Flozell Daniels, who worked for the Foundation of Louisiana. I want you all to know this was a competitive process, and there were certain criteria, objective criteria. Every project had to be judged against that. It was awarded points, but also with respect to this project development and selection, we had to hear from the public. They actually met with over 3,000 people across South Louisiana at events to engage them about these projects and about this program. And so they went out and met our citizens where they live, where they work, where they play, to understand current and future flood risk while looking at how our communities have to evolve to address those risks. And as I mentioned before, community input is vital. And I want to thank all of the residents and our community partners who came out and played a role in this, who informed this process and helped guide the selection of these projects. Louisiana is committed to a community-based approach paired with our existing technical expertise to face the real coastal challenges and increased risk of flooding that we're going to encounter not just now, but as far into the future as we can see. And these projects, illustrated on these boards in front of you and behind me, are the results of those partnerships. And now I'm going to announce, I guess, what it is you came for, the 10 projects that have been selected. We're going to start in Jefferson Parish, right here in Gretna, where we sit or stand, depending on what you're doing right now. But the Gretna Resilience District Kickstart is right here in Jefferson Parish, right here where we are. This area will receive funding for features to retain water in a heavy rain event, reduce flood risk to homes and businesses in a flood-prone area. The investment will enhance recreational amenities and provide an educational opportunity to demonstrate best resilience practices. And then we're just going to go from left to right, it appears. The Louisiana Wetland Education Center in John Lafitte was developed to educate Louisiana citizens and citizens from wherever they might come about the value of our wetlands and how those wetlands provide critical buffer of protection from surge flood events. And I can't wait to make that happen. And I know that the Senate President has been a champion of that particular program, project, I should say. There are also 2 projects in Lafourche Parish. Jimmy, how about that? The Emerging Industry Business Incubator is going to help expand opportunities for businesses to thrive in the emerging water economy. This is one of the real advantages that we're being offered by our experience here. We're going to develop more expertise, more experience in how to live with water in a changing environment than anywhere else in the country, and one of the few places in the world that's going to have our level of expertise. It will become an exportable commodity, and it is something we can do to enhance our economy, and that's one of the things that will be promoted by the Emerging Industry Business Incubator down in Lafourche. Secondly, the Resilient Housing prototype will develop a higher density affordable housing model designed with future flood risk in mind. Down in Plaquemines Parish, the Harbor of Refuge will be used to build resilient infrastructure project down in Empire that will provide refuge to vessels supplying Louisiana's vital seafood economy. Also, funding will be provided for a much-needed mental health and substance abuse program that will provide support and public health resources to residents in underserved communities of Plaquemines who are subject to severe and repetitive flood risk. In St. John the Baptist Parish, the Airline in Maine Complete Streets Project will beautify a major transportation corridor to promote future growth while reducing flood risk along that corridor. In St. Tammany Parish, the Safe Haven Blue and Green Campus and Trails will enhance existing campus to increase water detention in a critical drainage area. And it was not that long ago that Parish President Brister and I were able to tour that facility, and I'm really happy that that project's going to be brought to bear there. In Terrebonne Parish, the buyouts outside of Morganza to the Gulf levee system will provide for voluntary relocation assistance to permanent resident households living outside the levee system, not somewhere they want to be these days. And the Lake Boudreaux Living Mitigation Project will create terraces within that same levee system to provide a multiple lines of defense approach to reducing flood risk. So I hope you will agree with me that these projects represent real progress for the great state of Louisiana. We look forward to working with local leaders to finalize the plans in each of the 6 parishes as part of a regional strategy that is vital if we're going to build a stronger, more resilient state. And it always starts with stronger and more resilient communities. And that's why I'm excited to be here with you today and tell you that this is just the start. We're going to continue to do these things as we are able. But for these particular projects, they're all scheduled to be complete by the end of 2022. And moving forward, we're going to continue to lead developing resilience plans and projects across Louisiana's parishes and wetlands, applying the lessons learned from LA Safe and replicating them statewide. And we recently announced an award of $1.2 billion in hazard mitigation from community development block grant funding for the disasters that hit us in 2016. So we have 56 parishes across the state of Louisiana that qualify for that funding. And we're going to make sure we get the biggest bang for the buck, but we now have more funding and we have more flexibility than we've had in a very long time to address these risks. So I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank all of the people who took part in this and who are going to take part in this to make sure that we deliver these projects on time and that they realize the benefit that we've talked about here today. And I want to ask you to continue to be as optimistic about the great state of Louisiana as I am. I know we have challenges. Nobody has to tell me that. But I am absolutely confident we're going to meet those challenges, overcome them, and we're going to stay on the road to greater prosperity and opportunity for the people in Louisiana. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Flozell Daniels. I'm CEO of the Foundation for Louisiana, and I'm absolutely delighted to be taking part in this celebration. I want to first start with just a number of thank yous, obviously to Governor John Bel Edwards and his amazing team in the governor's office for taking the leadership and really addressing coastal challenges in the ways that our communities and businesses experience them on the ground. I also want to thank the governor for building disaster resilience as a way of doing business across the breadth of state government. It really has distinguished the way people around the country see the state of Louisiana, and as much as we are a model for this work. I want to give special thanks to the Office of Community Development, Pat Forbes and Matt Sanders, who's hiding back here behind this sign, and their team for partnering with us on at the foundation on LA Safe. As I said before, it is a model for the hard work of keeping communities safe and making them more resilient. And it is relevant across all the 64 parishes, as the governor said, of our state, and relevant nationally and even globally as we work to address the challenges that come from living with more water. I also want to elevate all of the elected officials that were mentioned here today. You know, at the Foundation for Louisiana, we've been fortunate to work with literally dozens and hundreds of philanthropy and foundations since Katrina. And what they said is we are looking to invest in communities and create strategies that we know are going to lead the future and become models for the nation and the world. In part, the resources set forth in the creation of the National Disaster Resilience Competition came from philanthropy, seeing Louisiana's leadership and being able to create those resources with HUD and the public sector to do that. And part of why that worked is because the local leaders, all the folk that were mentioned earlier and those who couldn't be here, really worked with community to move that work. And certainly the most important thank you for the morning is our community-based partners and community members. We know our most important asset in Louisiana are our people. They're the ones who show up every day. They do the hard work. They raise their families. They come to meetings after being, dead tired to show up. As the governor said, almost 4,000 people, more than 70 meetings, showing up to match technical expertise with lived experience and wisdom. People from every walk of life. And it was the magic of them showing up and their input that really made this work. And of course, I want to thank my amazing team at Foundation for Louisiana, Liz and the like. The LA Safe process has illustrated, really, in a way that I can't overemphasize, the unique possibilities of a seamless and high-level partnership between the Office of Community Development, Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, and the Governor's Office of Coastal Activities. Very different offices that found ways to support their work, really in a historic way, included thousands of Louisianans in the learning and planning process. And here today, and over the course of the last year, we all work in the service of Louisiana's people. And you see in these projects, right, although there are 10 projects, because of local leaders and because of this leadership across these different offices, folk had about the same amount of money to spend, but you can see each community had a chance to develop their own strategies that uniquely worked for them and that worked across the region, knowing that disasters don't observe political lines. It was just amazing. And so we stand here in this moment of opportunity as we have begun to comprehensively and holistically address the challenge of our coast and the effects of land loss and flood risk to our communities and economies, we really have an opportunity to take advantage of this moment. LA Safe has allowed us to begin to maximize our collective talents and responsibilities in a way that significantly improves the lives of our residents and our communities. Very quickly, the Foundation for Louisiana for more than 12 years now, starting with our Coastal Fisheries Fund in 2006, all the way to our Coastal Resiliency Leverage Fund now, have had a chance to deeply understand the value of investing in people and practices that actually work to reduce risk and increase resilience across our state. The projects that were just revealed today really are an important step toward a Mississippi Delta that is sustainable, vibrant, and possible within a smaller footprint. This work serves as a reminder that here in Louisiana, we are just one of a number of communities around the world learning how to live with water. We sit in a leadership position as it relates to how we do that. And we are, as I said earlier, a reminder for those, a model for those across the nation and across the country. So as I close today with a challenge to all of us to really think about what the governor said and reminded us to do, to continue to collaborate and build on the tremendous work of our colleagues, allies, and partners, to really depend on and rely on our people to be our best guide for what the work should be, to expand our thinking and ways of working across sectors and disciplines, to scale our work from the local and the regional to the coast and statewide. We really appreciate everything that you've done to make this day possible. And as someone said, the work is just beginning. Take care.
I'm Drew Broach from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, and closing remarks here from Pat Forbes.
And we're going to be here for a little bit with our panels and able to talk about the projects if anybody has questions, and look forward to working with all of you as we build these great projects and make Louisiana more resilient than ever. Thank you so much for coming.
Again, I'm Drew Broach from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. We're in Gretna, where Governor Bel Edwards has just announced $40 million in funding for 10 coastal resilience projects in 6 parishes. First, we heard from Pat Forbes of the State Office of Community Development, then from the governor, then from Flozell Daniels of the Foundation for Louisiana. Essentially, the state's been working with some $90 million from the federal government to do some recovery and resilience work since Hurricane Isaac. About half that money is going to relocate the residents of the vanishing Ile de Jean Charles. The other $40 million or so is being split among 6 parishes and 10 projects in each parish. These are not coastal restoration projects or rebuilding the physical coast, but these are resilience projects designed to make it easier for people to live near the coast. We're going to be telling you a lot more about these projects in a story on NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. So check out that later in the day. And I'm Drew Broach. If you got questions, email me at dbroach@NOLA.com. Thanks much.